Welcome to today's video where we will discuss the challenges facing the transport sector in East Africa. One of the main issues is poor infrastructure, including limited road networks and poorly maintained roads. Another problem is the high cost of fuel, which affects transportation costs and makes goods more expensive. Inconsistent policies and regulations across East African countries create obstacles for businesses operating in the transport sector. Lack of proper planning and coordination between different modes of transportation hinders the efficiency of the transport sector. The rise in traffic congestion in major cities is a growing concern, leading to delays and increased fuel consumption. Inadequate investment in public transportation systems makes it difficult for people to commute efficiently, especially in urban areas. The safety of passengers and cargo is a significant challenge, with inadequate enforcement of traffic regulations and poor vehicle maintenance. Limited access to finance for small and medium-sized transport businesses makes it difficult for them to expand and invest in modern transportation technologies. Corruption and bribery pose a threat to the efficiency and fairness of the transport sector, as it hampers decision-making and increases costs. Trade barriers and inefficient border clearance procedures within East African countries slow down the movement of goods and increase transportation costs. Inadequate training and skills development programs for drivers and logistics personnel affect the overall quality of services in the transport sector. Insufficient data collection and monitoring systems make it challenging to evaluate and address the specific needs of the transport sector in East Africa. The lack of a comprehensive transport policy at the regional level hinders effective cooperation and integration among East African countries. Fuel smuggling and illegal activities in the transport sector contribute to revenue losses for governments and undermine fair competition. The limited availability of reliable and affordable public transportation options in rural areas affects the mobility and economic opportunities of the population in those areas. Environmental degradation caused by the transport sector's emissions and the poor management of waste from transportation-related activities is a pressing concern. Limited access to technology and digital solutions in the transport sector hampers its ability to modernize and improve efficiency. Inadequate maintenance and repair facilities for vehicles and lack of spare parts lead to more breakdowns and longer downtime for transport operators. The shortage of skilled technicians and mechanics in the transport sector contributes to delays in repairs and maintenance of vehicles. Inefficient customs procedures and bureaucratic red tape at border crossings increase transit time and transportation costs for goods. Inadequate road signage and poor road markings pose safety hazards and increase the risk of accidents in the transport sector. The lack of harmonized standards and regulations for the transport sector across East African countries creates a barrier to seamless operations. Limited cooperation and coordination between different stakeholders in the transport sector hinder the development of integrated transportation systems. Inadequate funding for infrastructure development and maintenance limits the capacity of the transport sector to address its challenges. The lack of integration between transport modes, such as railways, ports, and roads, leads to inefficiencies and higher costs in the transport sector. Limited access to markets and trade opportunities due to border restrictions and non-tariff barriers affect the competitiveness of the transport sector in East Africa. The absence of a unified transport network and intermodal connectivity makes it difficult to optimize transportation routes and logistics in East Africa. Inadequate investment in technology and innovation prevents the transport sector from adopting cost-saving and environmentally friendly solutions. Political instability and conflicts in some East African countries disrupt the transport sector's operations and hinder its growth. The absence of reliable and up-to-date data on transportation flows and demand makes it challenging to plan and allocate resources effectively. Limited availability of affordable insurance options for transport operators increases their financial risks and affects the sector's stability. The shortage of qualified drivers and lack of training programs for aspiring drivers pose a challenge for the transport sector's human resource capacity. Inadequate maintenance of railway infrastructure contributes to the low utilization and reliability of rail transportation in East Africa. The absence of a unified maritime transport policy and infrastructure in East Africa hampers the development of a vibrant shipping sector. The limited availability of modern and well-equipped ports in East Africa negatively impacts the efficiency of the transport sector. The lack of public-private partnerships and investment in the transport sector restricts its ability to innovate and improve its services. Inconsistent implementation and enforcement of transport regulations across different East African countries create ambiguity and hinder fair competition. Insufficient access to credit and financing options prevents transport businesses from investing in modern and fuel-efficient vehicles. The limited availability of skilled labor and technical expertise in the transport sector hampers its ability to adopt new technologies and best practices. Inadequate awareness and understanding of sustainability practices in the transport sector impede efforts to reduce its environmental impact. The absence of a regional transport authority or regulatory body makes it challenging to address cross-border transport issues effectively. Thank you for watching today's video on the problems facing the transport sector in East Africa.